Have you ever pined for love, knowing that there is that kind of big love, and you may have even met somebody, a person, and thought, wow, this is the big love, only to then find that something just went wrong and it wasn't quite the big love, but for you that big love is almost like a choking, it's a pining, that it's got to be, there has to be that union. And a lot of you attribute this to the twin flame journey. A lot of you experience this kind of bigness, and what will go hand in hand with this is that you're already on a path of awakening. Spiritually, you are already quite aware. Now, some of you may not consider this to be a twin flame thing, or you may not even have thought about it, but you simply feel that normal love won't cut it. Transactional love won't cut it. Overly romanticized relationships won't cut it. That what you're looking for is this big, great, gigantic love that you totally believe it exists, so much so that you can believe or even feel that you're with this person or with this being, and that you are already in that kind of relationship, and there may not be a physical person with you. You may be somebody who has gone through childhood believing in a big grand love story, and that one day you're going to meet the love of your life. Folks, this is quite different from the salvation fantasy when you are seeking a savior. What I'm talking about is quite different to that. This is when you have the kind of pining that you would have for all that is. One common thing that you'll find with a lot of you that have experienced this kind of choking, pining, is that it may not necessarily be that it's for a person, but there is that intensity in that you're almost down on your knees, that what is this? So what is this Shiva and Shakti? What is this Kundalini? What is this coming together as one? What is this divine masculine, divine feminine? What is it all about? And is there such a thing as a half of your soul, as a half of yourself, or as a missing part? Or indeed, can we have so many parts to that one soul or to that one seed that is inside of us? Most of you, or most of us who have been through this or are going through this, you feel that intense pining because you've almost got 1 foot in heaven and 1 foot on earth. Please don't take this literally. It's simply a metaphor to illustrate. So 1 foot in all that is, where you have this all-consuming love which you recognize and feel as the very core of you. It is the very, very essence of you. And these are people who will sometimes feel spaced out, ungrounded. You might look up at the sky, you might feel connected to this other world, or not even feel that you're off this world, or you might feel that there is someone who's with me all the time and I can feel this, but there is this great big love affair. This great big love is you're not fully embodied. Fully embodied meaning that you're almost half spiritually awake, so you're fully awakened, and the other bodies, like your astral, subtle causal bodies, they're a lot more active than you are within this body. So what you're actually pining for or experiencing in that pining is the feeling itself that you're experiencing as not being embodied, which is in your very own essence, which is all that is, and that essence is of love. So that pining and that longing go hand in hand with what you're already experiencing and what you already are. So for some, it might feel like you're missing yourself, but that missing is almost a reminder or like an alarm bell during the day or whatever, that this is who you are. That pining and that love, it goes hand in hand. So the pining doesn't come because there is something that is missing, but it appears to be missing because you are hiding behind the body. The pining is essential to experience the depth of that love. And a lot of you who are very, very advanced in your awakening, or you're very advanced, when I say advanced, there is no hierarchy, but that you've come with a lot more memory of your experiences from before. And your experience of that ethereal love or that unconditional, you don't even have to put unconditional or anything, any word to describe love, because love is just potent in love, what that love is. But because we live in times now or even before of transactional love, very rarely will you see couples that are very transparent in their communication with each other and very authentic. But this post is particularly for those of you who have this pining inside, this longing that cannot be satiated with anything, but it's almost like a longing that you have lived with forever, that you've always had. You've had that longing, and that longing is key to further the embodiment of your full awakening. And you are already, chances are you're probably somebody who was born wide awake spiritually. So this is a very, very common thing to happen to very, very evolved old souls who are already walking in that, but not fully embodied. But you can also be fully embodied, and then you realize this. You realize that, so the pining is not necessarily that you're pining for a half of you or a quarter of you, or about pining for somebody else. But it's a pining for your own self that is forgotten that I am that love. I am that. But that pining is important for you to realize that you are that. But will the pining go? No. It's necessary. It's an almost necessary part. So this Leela, or the divine sport that we experience, this duality that we experience, this voluntary amnesia or amnesia life that we experience, that we are voluntarily forgetting so that we can be fully embodied and fully immersed in this 3D reality. Yeah? Because when you're not, and you know this, because a lot of you on the spiritual awakening path will experience periods of being ungrounded, and you experience that bliss, and some of us want to just sit in that place. The magic is in bringing that here and completely embodying all of that love. Yeah. And this is where, when you have experienced this pining and pining and pining, now as you going through your healing processes yourself, because there will be karma that you have from this life, there'll be things that you're carrying forward, there'll be healing that you're doing for your own family, and you may meet people and you think, wow, that this is the person that was there. And this might trigger the greatest healing for you. It might trigger so many other things. It might trigger, a really horrific time that ultimately is going to allow you to shed any associations or any identifications with that this pining that you have has got to do with somebody or somebody that you're going to meet, whether it's a soulmate, twin flame, the other half, your Shiva Shakti, Sometimes we have that. But this level of pining, folks, it's a very, very different pining from a pining that you have when you feel that you are missing a part of you, or that you're expecting for someone to come and save the day, or for somebody to come and redo the historic elements of our lives. This is very different. It's the kind of pining that's almost a necessary pining. That is a pining that, as far as you can remember, it is something that you have always had. And this is, folks, where a lot of you, who are going through spiritual awakening, twin flame journeys, Kundalini rising, and as you then stumble upon this, oh, is it a twin flame? What is going to happen? The natural thing that happens then is an awakening. You sort of wake up to this whole other world, and then you delve deeper and deeper and deeper, and you finally get into your own authentic sense of self, so that you then don't need this other person. And this is where we say, oh, the runner returns. You have this runner-chaser dynamics, folks. Right? But that whole story, or the whole idea about Shiva Shakti, the whole idea of all of this is the story about you and you. And so ultimately it will not matter whether there is this soul that is embodying this body, and that this body is going to be with me, or that this person is going to be with me, because that pining that I feel, you might even find that when you are with that person that you were pining for all along, and you thought that the pining came and that it was about this other person, you then realize that that pining never goes away. So a lot of you have experienced this. A lot of you who would have found that you're quite not detached, but you may have been lonely, or you might start to question your relationships, and you might think, well, okay, so why am I still pining? Or why do I still have this longing or a waiting, that you're almost waiting for this person to turn up or for something to happen? And that no love is love unless it's like this big, grand love that is pulling all the stops, nothing. And you're not somebody who will be interested in sort of, 100 roses, or, any of these sort of gestures that are overly commercialized. But you're looking for that kind of connection. And so here, folks, it's a little twist on the whole thing, that it's because most of you is already awake and in that state of love that you experience the pining. So the pining, and you're already in love state, not with another person, and not directed towards anything. This is non-direction. This is just the very essence of who you are. So you're sitting in your essence already. So, to simplify it, you're sitting in that essence and experiencing that essence already on another dimension, another plane of existence, right? And all the while you're pining for it because you're in it. So you're not pining for it because of its absence, but you're pining for it because of the illusion of its absence, and you're pining for it because of its presence. So it's not as far away as, oh, it's on another plane or another level of existence, but just to explain, but it's actually at the same point, at the same time, you're here, but also there, at the same time, folks. So there's no dichotomy, there's no sort of splitting off or anything, but you are all the same together in that loveness, and in that separation, and in that pining. It's all there together. Sending you so much love. I would love to hear your own stories, whether it's to do with the one, or twin flame soulmates, karmic relationships, but whether you have really lived all your life with this feeling of pining and longing or seeking, knowing of this great love. Folks, you are love. You are love embodied. Step out of your way and you will see that, sending you so much love. Take care.